Most parents don't realize this until it's already passed, but the first year of your baby's life is not a checklist year, it's a wiring year, and almost everything you're told to obsess over is either incomplete, mistimed, or quietly misunderstood, because milestones were never meant to be racing targets. They were meant to be signals, and when parents don't understand what those signals actually mean, they either panic too early or miss what really matters. And that's why this is the only 0-12-month milestone video you'll ever need. Because we're not going to rush month by month, we're going to reframe the entire year so you finally understand what matters, what doesn't, and what your baby is actually trying to tell you beneath the surface, starting with the most important truth of all, that development is not linear. It's layered, and your baby is not progressing in steps. They are building systems on top of systems, many of which you can't see yet, and the first system being built is not physical, it's neurological safety. Because before a baby learns to hold their head up, before they roll, before they sit or crawl or babble, their brain is asking one question over and over again: am I safe here? And the answer to that question shapes every milestone that comes after it. Because a nervous system that feels safe develops faster, more flexibly, and more resiliently than one that is constantly stressed, rushed, or overstimulated. And that's why in the earliest weeks, when your baby is mostly eating, sleeping, crying, and staring at nothing in particular, the milestone is not sleep length or feeding volume or tummy time duration. The milestone is regulation. Can your baby settle with your help? Can they feel calm in your arms? Can they move from distress back to baseline? Because every time that happens, their brain is learning how to recover, and that skill will quietly determine how they handle frustration, learning, and emotional stress years later, even though no one ever puts it on a chart. And during these first months, when parents worry about eye contact or startle reflexes or whether their baby is behind because they don't smile yet, what actually matters is responsiveness. Does your baby react to your voice, your smell, your touch? Because connection precedes communication. And when that bond is consistent, the brain opens itself to growth. And when it's unpredictable, the brain goes into protection mode, slowing everything down. And by the time your baby starts smiling socially, usually around the second or third month, that smile is not a trick or a performance. It's proof that their brain has learned people are worth engaging with, that faces bring comfort, that interaction feels good. And when parents understand that, they stop forcing stimulation and start offering presence instead. Which is why babies who seem easy are not born that way, they are regulated that way. And as head control begins to emerge and your baby starts lifting, wobbling, and stabilizing, it's tempting to treat this as a purely muscular milestone, but it's not. It's a coordination milestone. The brain is learning balance, spatial awareness, and effort modulation, and when babies struggle here, it's often not weakness, it's timing, and rushing them with excessive propping or devices doesn't help, it interferes. Because the brain learns best when movement is self-initiated, not imposed, and that principle carries through every single milestone from this point forward. When rolling starts to appear, some babies roll early, some later, some skip it entirely. And none of those paths predict intelligence, confidence, or athletic ability, but what rolling does tell you is whether your baby is experimenting, exploring cause and effect, discovering that effort creates change, and that discovery matters far more than the roll itself, because babies who are allowed to struggle just enough without rescue develop persistence, and babies who are rescued too quickly learn helplessness, even though the intention is love. And as sitting becomes more stable, parents often think independence has arrived. But sitting is not independence, it's curiosity expanding, it's the brain saying, I can see more now. And with that expanded view comes a surge in cognitive growth. Object permanence begins to form, attention spans lengthen slightly, frustration increases because wanting comes before doing. And this is where many parents misinterpret fussiness as a problem instead of progress, because frustration is the brain practicing desire, And desire is the engine of learning, and when crawling appears, or doesn't, the same misunderstanding repeats itself. Because crawling is not mandatory, movement is, and some babies move sideways, some scoot, some roll, some go straight to standing, and none of these paths are wrong as long as the baby is self-motivated, exploring, and engaged, because mobility is not about speed, it's about agency, and agency is the real milestone, the belief that I can make things happen, and that belief forms the backbone of confidence later in life. And when babies begin pulling up, cruising, and eventually taking those first steps, parents often celebrate walking as the crown achievement of the year. But walking is actually the end of the motor story, not the beginning, because by the time a baby walks, the most important neurological systems are already in place: balance, coordination, spatial awareness, problem solving, emotional regulation, all quietly assembled long before the first step ever happened. And that's why babies who walk later are not behind. They are often more cautious, more observant, and more regulated, and babies who walk early are not advanced. They are simply wired for movement, and neither predicts future success. And alongside all of this physical development, language is forming in ways most parents never notice, because language does not start with words, it starts with rhythm, tone, facial expression, and turn-taking. When your baby coos and you respond, when they babble and you wait, when they gesture and you interpret, that back and forth is the true language milestone. And babies who hear more language don't just learn more words. They learn patterns, they learn timing, they learn meaning, and that's why talking to your baby matters more than flashcards ever will. And when words finally emerge, whether early or late, they are not a test of intelligence, they are a reflection of exposure, opportunity, and temperament. And just as important as what appears in the first year is what doesn't need to appear, because not every baby sleeps through the night, not every baby eats solids easily, not every baby loves tummy time, and none of those struggles mean failure. They mean individuality. And the danger of milestone culture is not that it tracks development, it's that it convinces parents there is a single correct timeline, when in reality there are wide windows, overlapping paths, and countless healthy variations. And the babies who thrive long-term are not the ones who hit milestones first. They are the ones who feel supported while reaching them. And that support doesn't come from comparison. It comes from attunement, noticing your baby, responding to your baby, trusting the process without rushing the outcome. Because the first year is not about producing a certain kind of child, it's about building a foundation strong enough to support whoever that child is meant to become. And if there is one milestone that matters more than all others combined, it's this: that by the end of the first year, your baby knows deeply and without question that when they need something, someone comes, not perfectly, not instantly, but consistently enough to make the world feel safe, because a baby who feels safe doesn't just grow, they bloom. And years from now, when the charts are forgotten, the apps are deleted, and the timelines fade, what will remain is the nervous system you helped shape, the trust you helped build, and the quiet confidence your child carries into the world, not because they were rushed, but because they were understood, not because they were pushed, but because they were supported. And if you remember nothing else from this first year, remember this: you did not miss anything, you are not behind, your baby is not broken. And the fact that you right here trying to understand instead of just compare already tells me you are doing far better than you think, because the greatest milestone of the first year is not something your baby achieves, it's something you become: a parent who sees, responds, and stays present through the most important 12 months your child will ever live.